know somebody that is so out of touch with reality that it makes your head shake? Do you know somebody that is so self-centered that they honestly believe that they are better than others, or perhaps even above the law? I'm willing to bet you do know somebody that fits those criteria. Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Now, it could be said that he doesn't know any better. Seriously, I'm not making excuses for the clown in charge. Wait, did I just say clown? I'm sorry, that must have been a Freudian slip. I meant man. Wait, is that sexist? I'm not sure. This isn't good. Here I am, 10 seconds into delivering the news, and I'm already insulting someone. Let's try it again, shall we? Justin Trudeau simply doesn't know any better, and the reason for the fact he is so out of touch with reality is that he has never lived a normal Canadian life. Sure, he grew up in the same building he lives in now, but that doesn't make him some magical expert on Canadians, or Canada for that matter. As a young, attention-craving, ethically corrupt adult, Justin spent much of his time in leisure and the pursuit of personal goals. Much of this might be fine and dandy, but it certainly doesn't coincide with the average Canadian's life. This is what makes him so out of touch with reality. The problem is, Trudeau has always claimed to be a person who can be defined by his record. He claims to be a feminist, but his actions have spoken differently. Justin claims to be a man with a vision for post-era Canada, but he forgets that over half of Canada just like things the way they are. Canada's Prime Minister claims to be a champion of racial equality, a beacon of justice, as well as a shield from the unrighteous bigots and xenophobes that exist in systemic racist Canada. But, and that's a big but, the puerile, privileged, pompous fool was caught dressing up in blackface not only once, but many times. He wore turbans, afro wigs. He has been blackface, brownface, two-faced, and yet never faces criticism for the very actions he now condones. It does not seem to matter if he was groping girls or dressing up in other races, because Trudeau has never been held to the same account as other Canadians. So for a leader of Canada who swears to be the pinnacle of the Canadian future of justice and morality, he seems more to be the epitome of what not to do. Nothing Trudeau does is sincere. We all know that politicians lie. In fact, I believe that if you Google the word politician, it would say something about individuals with a version of Tourette's where they shout lies instead of swear words. However, what Justin does completely lowers the bar on what is acceptable behavior for politicians. Canadians are funny. It's the little things that irritate us. Gasoline rises in price a few cents, and we're steaming mad sitting in our line at the local Timmy's. Some lady in Parliament orders a $15 glass of juice, and Canadians across the country are calling for her head. A hockey team loses the Stanley Cup Finals, and there are violent riots across the city. Speaking of hockey, Canadians chose to freeze a loonie into the ice during the playoffs, and the whole world went completely bonkers, wanting it removed, which in turn fired up the Canadians. Like, how dare they remove that loonie, eh? Provincial parliament members can't seem to get along, so they threaten to divide the whole nation across the Ontario and Quebec border. I've often wondered how Canadians would travel from the East Coast to the West in such a scenario. But fortunately, over half of the country actually liked the only French-speaking province being part of Canada, so the vote never passed. Maybe we all like Quebec, look at it like that one token French friend who you usually don't hang out with normally, but when you two are drinking, you're suddenly a fluent French, eh? And the whole world can suck your French speaking backside, eh? Like I said, it's the little things that get us fired up. Hockey, Quebec, or the price of Timmy's coffee going up a nickel. Canadians are indeed people unto their own. Moving away from the narcissistic youthful mistakes by Justin Trudeau before he was strangely elected to the leader of Canada. Twice. Let's brush aside all the lies, the sexual misconduct, the racial stereotypes, and attempts to dehumanize other races like we're the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Just brush it all under the rug and forgive and forget it ever happened. Now let's focus on Trudeau's political career and how he is the beacon for righteousness and good in Canada, as the man claims to be defined by his record. Turns out, he's not exactly looking that pretty. While he went into the first term with great hair, and now in the second term sports a brand new goatee, Justin simply doesn't look that good. Record-wise, I mean. First it was the Aga Khan legal shabacle, then came the SNC Lavalin immoral and criminal cases, and now Justin is facing the Federal Ethics Commissioner for donating money to a charity, whereupon Trudeau's family members were paid to speak. Between all these legal and moral fiascos, Justin Trudeau has been mocking other cultures by dressing up in costume when he visits, and in some cases doing such to an extent that an apology was required for the level of embarrassment that was caused. Like I said, it's the little things that make a Canadian want to reach over someone's head, grab their shirt, and pull it up over their head while delivering a good round of personal gratification with their fists. Wait, did I say gratification? I meant justice. Yeah. We're mad that Justin was in India, but it was completely justified. How can the guy telling everybody to not dress up like other races and nations for fear of having their culture misappropriated, and yet there he is parading around India with his family completely dressed in India attire, as well attempting to dance in a manner with heavily racial overtones? Notice I said attempting. Where was I? Oh, right. Double standards. Canadians are ticked right off about the double standard that Justin Trudeau receives. Definition of irony. An individual who champions anti-white culture, but is the epitome of Caucasianly privilege. I'm certain if you look up the word irony in the dictionary, it may have a picture of the Canadian Prime Minister. Or maybe it's under that hyphenated word, double standard. Pretty sure that's it. A picture of Trudeau under the heading double standard. I bet there's even a side note telling the reader to also see hypocrite. But I digress. Trudeau must subscribe to one of those ideals where it's do as I say, not as I do. It's evident that he doesn't understand Canadians by the results of the last election in the western half of the country. His double standards are based on an entire life of being different than other Canadians, regardless of the fact he grew up in the thick of the Canadian Parliament. There are so many contributory factors as to why Trudeau was treated differently than the average Joe, so it's not surprising he acts and thinks the way he does. To blame him is akin to blaming a child. They believe sorry will fix everything. Sorry. I'm sorry. We're deeply sorry. I'm so sorry. How many times has Justin Trudeau uttered those words? Between all the political and legal fiascos Justin has caused, he has been saying sorry for nearly any wrong ever committed on Canadian soil. The land grab by early settlers and the placement of Indigenous natives on reservations? We're deeply sorry. The 60s scoop? Oh, sorry. Deeply sorry. So sorry. At what point does the word sorry lose all of its meaning? Being Canadian and all, we're prone to delivering a sorry on occasion or 10, but that's more akin to a cultural twitch, ranking right up there with the use of the word a. In fact, a good Canadian can even inadvertently combine the two Canadianisms and end up with a solid sorry, eh? However, this isn't the type of sorry I'm talking about. It's the use of the word sorry for when someone gets caught doing something criminal or immoral that's the focus. Justin Trudeau has been using the word sorry for every single thing that occurs to him and the Liberal Party. And it works. For some insane, maliciously magical reason, when Justin Trudeau states that he's sorry, It works. My personal prediction for the wee scandal, in which members of the Trudeau family as well as Bill Morneau's family were paid to speak, is that this whole thing will blow over just like SNC-Lavalin. I honestly believe that no harm will come to Justin in any criminal way. The Liberal Party will not suffer in any way, and some sort of committee will be formed to ensure that no more personal further gaffes within the Liberal caucus. I predict that the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation will do their absolute utmost to cover up the facts, manipulate the way Canadians see the event, and even play defense for the Prime Minister of Canada. You can rest assured that Justin Trudeau will finish his second term. What will happen? Only time will tell. I do know that for $16 I could buy a whole bunch of mix for vodka. Silly politicians, eh? Don't forget to smash that subscribe button on YouTube and Facebook so you can be instantly notified when a new article or video comes out. We partnered together with Canadian Reality Television and Debunking the CBC, since they go hand in hand. The only media in Canada comes from organizations that piss on the left side of the political fence, and CBC is even funded by the Canadian taxpayers. So, both the Debunking the CBC and Canadian Reality Television are basically one and the same. To clarify things a bit, my name is Zorn, but my nickname online is Kilroy. Same guy, but two different names. Two different platforms, but essentially the same message. Now that we've got to know each other a little bit and you have access to all the past content, please be sure to recommend us to your friends and spread the love. We always like it when you comment, so please be sure to leave a comment on either our blog site, Facebook, or on YouTube. And remember, knowledge is what brings a certain peace to mind. So watching truth brings us peace. And we are the truth coming out of Canada. We are your news and entertainment source. Signing out, Kilroy. Debunking the CBC is a subsidiary of Canadian Reality Television. Copyright 2019.